Hey,
Everybody. We are back to
back.
talk about
You can't stop.
this is a good topic.
This is a
Mhm.
really good topic. I can't relate, but whatever.
Oh my god, so can relate. So anxiety, we're talking about anxiety and how it impacts our relationships. As so we're not just talking about romantic relationships, although definitely, but also friendships too.
Anxiety.
Family, kids, all the things.
Uh,
Yes.
okay, so I'm gonna name the top 10 things that cause anxiety for people.
Oh, what
Chronic
causes
stress.
it?
Yep,
Just live in
yep,
America.
yep. Cause chronic stress,
Mm,
trauma or past experiences, uncertainty or lack of control, sleep deprivation. That's a good one.
yeah, for sure.
Caffeine and stimulants. That's another one that we overlook. We drink a lot of coffee. Um, Hormonal changes, health conditions, overthinking and perfectionism, my personal favorite. Relationship conflict or isolation and social media. That was number 10.
Should be up higher, I think, but
Yeah,
the chronic stress, I think that's a huge thing, but the thing is, there's a lot of things we can't control. I've tried.
60%.
I've tried.
I think the number 60%.
So there's so much we can't control, but when it comes to, like, our thoughts and our emotions, like, that's something that we have some agency over. That's something that we can work with. Not that we're not gonna feel them or think things, but what you do with those things is huge. Self-regulation by far, to me, is one of the most important coping skills that you can have, is to be able to regulate yourself. And unfortunately, a lot of people do not know how to regulate. They were not regulated as kids, and they do not know how to regulate themselves as adults, which is why we see crazy things happen. We become crazy when we're not
Yeah,
regulated.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing I work with clients all the time is, they will have these reactions to things. And when we start, like, exploring what's going on, right? A lot of it will end up going into attachment systems and what is happening here, right? It is important to be able to, like, identify what your attachment style is, because if you do have an anxious attachment style, then that is really going to be something that you're going to have to work with, because it will greatly impact your relationships. That is different than just having some anxiety regarding certain pieces of connection, if that makes sense. Mhm.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about um attachment and attachment styles and how that's part of it. But and I think it's also to our like nature nurture argument, and also like sometimes things really are happening.
Yeah.
I had this discussion yesterday with someone how I don't think you could be anxious if somebody, let's say your partner has an affair, right? And then and then you spend like, obviously it's shocking. Obviously you have lots of feelings about it. But let's say it's been 6 months and you're like, I have anxiety about them leaving the house, or I have anxiety
Mhm.
about them getting on their phone. And I'm like, is that anxiety, or is it because you have evidence and something actually happened?
Well, the
So
anxiety
then,
is connected to the actual thing.
right.
It is real.
But there's anxiety and depression that is
Mhm.
just naturally there. It's a clinical designation. Like someone who's depressed will be depressed whether they win a lottery or don't win the lottery. The depression is like its own thing. And so I feel like some people have anxiety and it's a natural state for them.
Mhm.
Um,
And
I
some
spend a
is
lot
more
of time
based off of, like,
yeah,
external
and
factors.
some people are reacting to something that's actually happened. Like
Mhm.
when I walk down Beach Boulevard, if you don't know that street, it's in what Huntington Beach, and there people fly down that street to go to the beach. I don't know if I have anxiety, but it's because so many people get hit. on
Mhm.
PCH, on Beach Boulevard. So I feel like sometimes there's actually a circumstance that we can change in our life, which is why we have the anxiety, and sometimes it's just a habit. And so then determining the difference.
Well, and
Because I
either
think when it's
way,
a habit, then it's more related to the attachment style. But if you're in a circumstance that's causing anxiety, then you probably would have had the anxiety no matter what kind of attachment you had.
but the solution is the solution is the same in that, like, if I have it because, I now have insecurities based off what you said, like having a partner cheat on you versus, like, I have anxiety because, I have this factual knowledge also, they're both factual things of, like, people getting hit, and I'm trying to cross Beach
Yeah,
Boulevard.
yeah.
Either way, I have to manage that. That anxiety is impacting me, nobody else. It's not impacting the partner. It's not impacting the people driving. It's impacting
That's a
me.
good point.
And I have to learn, what do I want to do with that? Do I want to just sit in that fear and be like, like restless and like, then I have now behaviors that are connected to that feeling,
Yeah.
right? Because so at some point, like the recognition I have this and it's uncomfortable to like move towards how can I change that? I think
But
is
anxiety is almost like menopause. Like no one with anxiety wants to be told like you're having anxiety and you need to learn how to cope with it. Whereas like menopause, like if you're going through menopause, you don't want your husband to say, or when you're in your cycle, you want your husband to say, "Oh, you're just having mood swings." Like it's almost like how do we address that if because I think people don't really acknowledge that they have anxiety. I think that when they're having anxiety, and they react to the anxiety, they're actually thinking it's the cars going down the street. If those people would drive slower, everything would be okay.
yeah,
Or you get what I'm saying?
the positioning is very helpless. The positioning is, "This is just happening to me," and I'm like, "Well, wait, like, but you have agency." "No, I just have it. It just happens." "Well, yeah, but you have agency." Like, that doesn't mean the anxiety totally goes away, but you can decrease it. It's better from here to here,
Yeah.
right? So I think the kind of learned helplessness kind of in a way of this is just how it is. I just get really nervous when I'm in groups of people. Okay, well, what do you do about it? Do you try to do anything about it? Like if your relationships are, and this is part of the topic, is that it's wreaking havoc in your relationships, like maybe do something about it. Like I have clients, couples that she one of them will get very like, "Well, he didn't text me," and I text him, and I'm like, "Well, what is he doing?" "Well, he's at work." But, like, he could be texting me, and, like, super anxious, and so then more texts, and more texts, and more texts, and I'm like, "Okay, it's your responsibility to calm yourself down and
Yeah.
wait
That's a
his
good point.
response," right? It's not his responsibility to manage your anxiety by being on demand whenever you want,
Yep.
right?
Because
Because that's having an external
even if
factor.
even if he is on demand at a certain level, that'll get normalized and then the anxiety will be like, "Well, it's what he said. It's not."
Mhm.
And then it's like, well, he said the right thing, but it wasn't genuine. Like the anxiety just keeps growing until
More
we like,
demanding.
yep,
Yes.
very
Yes,
true.
and
Very
think
true.
about how that feels, like, I'm powerless. I'm powerless if I feel like I'm waiting for someone else to regulate me.
And that's what I meant with the whole social media checking the pages thing. Like that I have to like the buck has to stop here.
Yeah.
I have to be in charge of my own person
Mhm.
and I have to, like you said, manage my anxiety
So don't
and
feed
I
it.
have to be able to be okay.
Yeah, so don't feed it, right? Don't
Yeah.
don't be following, because I see that. People will break up and then they're like, "Yeah," and then I was on a social media and then I went on Snap because I just know, and, like, I'm like, "What are you're just feeding. You're just feeding
Yeah.
this. Don't stop feeding it. You have to stop feeding it," right? But then why they feed it? Because once they get a little, "Well,
Yeah,
I
the
saw
dope
and
it's
he's still single," so it's like,
it's the
okay, so then your
oxytocin.
regulation is based off of them when you could be taking agency back, you know? So I wanna talk about, what do you think when it comes to, let's you do marriage, okay? When it comes to being married and partner is supposed to handle something, pick up the kids,
Whatever it
whatever,
is.
and you're like, "Is he gonna remember?
Yeah.
Is he gonna is he gonna forget? Is he gonna" right?
Did he do
And
it the right way?
yeah, "Is he gonna come late? And then my kid's gonna feel abandoned? Like, what's gonna happen?" Right? The anxiety that happens. So then what's the response? What do you think typically, right, people do when that happens?
Get mad at the other person and blame them for doing something wrong. I think that's what they typically do.
Mhm.
Um, that's a good one because I thought you were gonna go in the different direction. I thought you were gonna say, how do you manage someone else's anxiety when they have to take on the extra responsibilities
Mhm.
that you've been managing? But we're addressing our own anxiety as to how they manage it.
Mhm.
So I have twins and I took parenting classes. We took parenting classes when they were born, before they were born. Like we took a little twin class and then we took this parenting class.
Mhm.
And one of the coaches was a nurse and she had twins. So it was really, really helpful. But she basically said that you're not going to be able to do it all. And the problem with being a twin mom is that you think you can. Triplet moms know that they can't. Triplet moms know that they have 3 babies, 2 arms. They can't put 2 babies in 1 arm and 1 baby. So, triplet moms get a lot of help, and it's okay, and everyone understands it, and the twin mom understands it. But the twin moms can't do it either, but they think they can.
Mhm.
So, you're gonna have to ask for help, and your husband's here. That's amazing, and he can help you. So, my rule for you is he can help you, but you cannot criticize the way he helps you. You just have to say thank you.
Mhm.
And so 12 years ago, I started that practice and I would say 80% of the time I stick by that rule
Mhm.
and it's helped us stay married and the kids are still alive.
Mhm.
But uh how do I manage the anxiety? I always have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. That's the honest truth.
Mhm.
So I set myself up for what might not happen the way I thought I want it to happen. Like, I pre-coach myself.
Preventative,
Yeah,
preventative. Mhm.
I do preventative self-care of and I made a rule with my kids because I knew the problem is that the anxiety could be coming from an actual reason. So, like, one of my kids was really, special and would, like, elope, he would leave, and so I knew how to care for my kids. Um, I knew I could never keep my eyes off of him. I knew that I didn't do cleaning and watch my son. So when people would quote unquote help, I would say, just keep oxygen going to his brain. If a limb comes off, we can survive. But like, I don't want a child in a vegetative state. I cannot gonna be able to handle that. Like, just keep him alive, keep oxygen, keep it going. And I don't want laundry. I don't need help with dishes. I don't need you to organize the table. I just need you to watch my son. And it was really hard to convince people of that because they too think they can do more than just watch the child. I've been trained because I've lived with it. I've made the mistakes. I've built up a tolerance, right? And so with that particular situation, I learned very quickly like I just don't leave my kids with one person, honestly. It's too much. It was too much. So
Mhm.
I think it's knowing what you're actually anxious about and knowing what you're dealing with and having like the proper expectations too that reduces the anxiety. Like, um,
Kinda like seeing your patterns, so if you see that, like, every time I do this thing, sometimes it just doesn't work out, and so now I have anxiety about it, and so how to be preventative
right.
about
That's why I was trying to address early on. Like, if the anxiety is unrealistic, then we address the anxiety directly in ourselves. But if the anxiety is a signal that we're putting something in harm's way or we're expecting something that we're not going to get back, then we have to, like with the self agency, then I have to take care of the level. So in recovery, I'll give you an example. In recovery, in Al Anon, you don't have to leave the alcoholic if the alcoholic is drinking. We can manage our own life and our own feelings, whether we're in a relationship with an alcoholic or not, right? So how do we do that? We have a plan B. We have a plan C. So I might think I'm going to dinner with my husband, but if this isn't my husband, I'm giving you an example. If he's having a relapse, then I need to have a plan B where I'm going to go hang out with my girlfriend, or
Mhm.
me and the kids are going to go to a different plan. And that's something I've learned in recovery over 30 plus years of like, have a plan B, have a plan C so that like with my dad and my wedding, my dad didn't go to my wedding, but if he had, I'd always had this fear of like my dad would ruin my wedding with his drinking, right? And so I went, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hire bodyguards and I'm going to have a couple guys standing in the
Mhm.
corner. And if I blink, they'll take my dad out respectfully so that he doesn't ruin the event, right?
Mhm.
So is the anxiety me being
But see,
nervous about something?
that's you taking agency. That's you saying, "I
Yes.
am aware of this, right? And I'm gonna, like, be ahead of it." What if, though, like, in your relationships, you're just noticing, like, the same things are happening, right? And the mindset is like, "That person, she always just does that," right? And it's like, well, and so you're anxious that it's gonna happen again, but are you actually doing anything, like, to like, be preventative, what you're saying, which I think is a the mach like, that's like another level, right? Like, initially, it's like, you're just reacting big. You're just like,
Right.
it's just big, and it's like, well, what is
Sometimes
happening
it's
right now?
big. Yes, sometimes it is big. Like, and what do we do with that? I
And we want, like, reassurance seeking, right?
like my son's future, like when I'm gone. And people will say you're future tripping. And but to be honest, when I'm in it, it feels like it's today and there is something that I can do to try to make it better for him 40 years from now. And it is, I mean, you're right. I don't know what I do in those moments. I think sometimes I pace it where I let myself be wrong sometimes and be
Mhm.
anxious about something that's not. I
Because
guess I don't
most
understand.
people, they move instead of being preventative, they move towards. The anxiety pushes them, right? The energy in the body, do something now. That's what it does. Anxiety, it pushes, right? So they call and they text and they text and they text and they want a response right now. Well, what I need you now, right? Like I'm just, and then they don't get it, so then they move in action. Then I'm going to do it myself,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because they're trying to calm it down by reaching out, pushing somebody else to respond to them, right?
Yes. So, yeah, so anxiety is like a little bit of a plague situation where I'm anxious, so I need you to be do something different so that I feel better. And then it just
Right,
goes on to the next person and the next person and the next person.
right.
We're externally coping rather than internally coping.
So we can do that with our partners where we become very demanding and we want you to do it now. But I asked you to do the dishes. Well, I'm going to do the dishes. But I asked you, can you go do the dishes? Well, I have to do it the second. How many times have I heard that with couples, right? They ask and they want it right now and they push and push
Yeah.
and push and push when it's like, okay, you asked. Now regulate yourself. Do something else. Trust that it's going to get done.
Yep.
Let it go, right? But that means I have to manage my anxiety instead of me coming to him to manage it, right? Or whatever with like
Sorry.
when it comes to even girlfriends, your friendships of different things of I'm gonna just end up
Friendships,
taking
yeah.
taking over things. And it's like, whoa. Sometimes friends with anxiety, it's like, dude, wow, it's a lot because it's like this push of like they're just all up in it. And it's like, hey, that's your anxiety taking over, and
Yeah.
this isn't for you to take over,
And you
and it could
sometimes you don't see it. And so
cause yeah.
I tend to react and I'm like, "Oh, if I do this, it'll be better. If I do that, it'll be better." And then it takes a minute for me to go, "Oh, wait a minute. This isn't my thing. I'm not
Yeah.
somebody else is anxious and they want me to self-soothe them
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
soothe them, and
Mhm.
I could just breathe and wait a second."
They use their passive aggressive statements. They slam the doors. They
All the
they
doors
all
slam.
the languages of like, "I'm throwing a tantrum because 'cause you're not giving me what I want." Instead of using all that energy to calm yourself down and be a more
You know
grounded person, right? It's no, we we do these they call them protesting behaviors when it comes to attachment systems, where we throw down. Like, oh yeah, you're
And
not going to do it.
escalate it,
Fine.
escalate it,
Yep.
escalate it.
We punish, we pull away, we I mean the things that we do to get what we want when we could just help ourselves in the moment, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
So
when
what is it for the people that there is that dysfunction? Let's say they grew up in a home where that was a lot, that happened a lot and they learned it, right? So, how do they cope with that? How do they cope with that, gap? Because, anxiety can cause adrenaline, and adrenaline can become addicting, and so we're in that constant state of
yeah.
something bad's really about to happen, and it keeps that person driven. So, how do we step away from that? Because
Well,
um I remember, I can empathize with the feeling of, like, it's a dance, and when your person's not soothing you or your person's not giving you that anxious, like, trigger, not trigger, but it's like a message, right? Then, how do we get used to functioning a different way?
well, I'm a big proponent of anxiety is energy in the body, and you have to calm the body down. You cannot
Agree.
go into mental strategies and coping at this point. You have flipped your lid, right? You are dysregulated, and you have to match that in the body. So it depends on how intense the anxiety is. This is one thing I am learning. I learned it about myself, but I'm also seeing it with other clients that sometimes you need a little pain because it's so high, right? It's so high that me just,
Saying
taking
something,
some breaths is not gonna take it. I need an ice pack on my vagal nerve to, like, shock my body to, like, "Take a breath, Lisa, like, calm
that's
down,"
good.
right? So I will tell my students who get really worked up about tests and other different things, right? Like, "Go in the bathroom, put water on your face," like, somatic things, right? I have somatic tools. Some are really painful. They are like wire rings that kinda hurt, and they kinda roll on and off your fingers that people will use, or, spiky things that they will use in their hands to help, like, pacing, walking. Sometimes people need to literally, like, do, like, up and down
Maybe
or
that's why trampoline is a really big thing for, people on the spectrum.
yes, it's the movement, right? We need regulation. Our bodies need to calm down. Once you can get your body to calm down a bit, then you can start in the mental strategies of learning to like combat that thinking, right? Like talk out loud to yourself, calm yourself down, right?
Yeah,
Depends on where you are,
of course.
right? Like you could put your pillow in the head, like I've talked about before, and do a scream release if you're just like, ah, I'm just so mad, that he's not respond whatever he's doing, just and you just need to get it out, right? So but the point is you got to do the body. You got to match that anxiety, pull it down. And if that means pacing back and forth, fine in your house and calm yourself down. Okay. So your body
Yeah,
movement and then it's the mind. It's take some deep breaths. What's going on right now? Breathe. Okay. Well, and you start like going in your head, right? And you have to challenge that thinking because the thinking is very extreme. They're going to leave me. Like they never. The statements are very big.
that's why I used to not like CBT, and I think people give CBT, like it's like the people like to poo-poo it, like it's the, like,
Mhm,
less superior intellectual therapeutic intervention or therapeutic,
mhm,
modality, but, I really do think the ABC, where you look at
mhm,
what happened just prior to feeling that way
mhm,
and you track it, you can see a pattern
mhm.
for yourself, right? You can also use it for a partner and, but you can't say, "I'm putting you down on the CBT chart for having a fit," like, you can't, but just mentally for you to be able to track it
Yeah.
so that you can actually get to know how to, um, figure out where it's coming from.
Yeah, because the saying is, if it's hysterical, it's historical,
Yep.
right? If it's big, this is way beyond the situation. This is back there. And it's like,
Yep.
oh my God, it's the same thing. That authority figure, that's my dad all over again, right? Like people, you'll start making these connections. That's why I get so worked up and I take it so personal. I get,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. It's
it's
funny when a year into, Kevin and I being married, he said something and he was, like, really upset, and I just started laughing because I know that hysterical is historical, and, um and, I just started laughing and I was like, "Oh my god, that whatever that was, that's, like, from way deep, from what you haven't even known me long enough to, like, have that many strong feelings about it." And he
mhm.
was really shocked, but it's true. When you've
Yeah.
been in a relationship for, like, 6 months or 18 months and someone's going big,
Mhm.
it's not about you. That it
Yeah.
started it's
Yeah.
a habit, it's a pattern, it's
Mhm.
from way long ago.
Yeah, exactly. And it's helpful. So when the subject about how it can impact our relationships, I think awareness obviously is a huge thing. A lot of
Yeah.
like you
Well,
said,
it can destroy relationships and it can destroy you, and
yeah,
it can really make you unhealthy because you think it's like, it's like gambling. You think, "I'll just put more money out there. I'll just do more. I'll do something else. I'll make it better. I'll fix this," and it doesn't. You can't
it
fix
hurts
someone
it.
else.
It
Yep.
harms it. Yeah. Because you become demanding and pushing and people pull away from you. They stop responding. And then that keeps that's that attachment crazy style that we see in
Yeah, it's
dating all the time.
a
The
vicious
anxious and the
cycle.
avoidant, right? Like the
Yep.
anxious is moving over the avoidance, like, just give me some space. I need to think. And they're like, no, you're trying to leave me. And it just becomes this whole cycle where if we could just regulate ourselves, if you're anxious and pause and redirect, that person could have some space and then you could have what you want.
And then what I really bring up a lot is even if, okay, if you regulate yourself, right? If
Mhm,
you believe that regulating yourself and getting yourself center is the highest good, right?
mhm,
Even if something terrible does happen, even if you're right about the thing you were worried about, you're still going to
mhm,
be better off. You're still going to be better off in an earthquake situation if you're calm versus like being anxious during the earthquake situation. You're still going to be better off if there is, infidelity and the relationship's either going to end or reinvent itself. You
mhm.
still need to get regulated. There's no getting around the regulation.
Yeah,
We you have to get regulated.
mhm.
Whether
Yeah,
you do it in a psych ward or in a prison or in your home or in a park, the self-regulation has to be a skill set that you master
yeah.
at some
And
level.
trying to find out what helps you regulate is takes some, you gotta try different things. I mean, the ice pack's easy because it's like you could take it to work or you could take it to you can have it at your home, right? To just pull out and you just put it on you.
Is that
But
why
like
people do the ice bath, or is that a different
that's
thing?
more for like
Ice plunge?
to flame, yeah, that's more like inflammation in the body, but,
Okay.
um, it but not just the ice pack, but, like, being able to ground yourself, like, my feet are on the ground, I feel my shoes, like, I'm
Grounding,
centered
yeah.
in the earth, like, to, like, we've done the color thing before, like, you pull out the colors, you're trying to be mindful and bring yourself here to calm yourself down, right? Because we just get so big. Obviously, deep belly breaths, like getting more oxygen in the blood, like being able to calm our bodies there's so many things that you can do to help your body. Um, and then you move into your headspace to be able to calm yourself
Yeah.
down. Um, and always trying new things. I'm always trying new things. I have tons of tools that I use in my sessions that I'm using for me in my sessions or in meetings that I will play with, I will have um, to keep myself grounded, especially if I'm having really, really long days. Um, and I'm very aware of my capacity of things. But even at home, I've learned to like stand up, get out of that headspace, pace,
Absolutely.
talk to myself. Like I will do bilateral tapping like I do with EMDR in my sessions. And I'm like, what's going on, Lise? What's happening right now? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just freaking out. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna pay for that. Like, I don't have the money. I don't have any backup. Like, and I have to calm myself down and like breathe. Okay, get your body calm. And I'm just working with myself, like, hey, you always figure out a solution. You're not alone. God's with you. Breathe, breathe. Like, and I'm helping myself come down so I can get cognitive. So I can figure out a solution. But I cannot. It's the same with when we're venting to our guys. We don't want a solution. We need to calm our body down. I need you co-regulate me,
Yeah.
listen to me vent, calm my body down, and then I can take your solution,
Yep. Very good
right?
point.
But the empowerment is that we can do this. You can do this. Now, your anxiety is never going to fully go away, but you instead of drowning in it, you can get it past your brain. You can get it down here. And sometimes that's 3 or 4 things to do. I'll do something and I'll check in. I need something else. Okay, I'll do something else. Okay, maybe I'm going to call a friend on the way home. Okay, maybe I need a bath. Get my body immersed in warm, calm it down. Like, what do I need? And try those things and learn what works for you. Because it is so powerful when you can ground yourself. When it's boom, and you're like, and you can keep yourself here, so powerful, right? Like that time when Kevin was losing it, and you're like, huh, this isn't about me.
No,
You can't do that
it
if you're just regulated.
no, you can't.
I know.
Yeah, and it takes practice. You have to practice it a lot. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, you have to be in situations which cause anxiety, for you to be able to work on your anxiety.
That to catch it, to catch
Yeah.
yourself by in the negative thinking or catch your body's getting restless
Yep.
and it's like, "Oh, wait, I could do something."
Yep.
It's that change of thought. I could do something. What could I do? That's why I tell my clients, put it in the notes in your phone, the things that work. Because when your brain's not working, you just need to look it up and see, "Oh, that, I could do that. Okay, let's go
I
walk."
set an alarm. I remember setting alarms on my phone that said, what was it? Like, I had these positive messages in there. I don't have them in there now because I have a lot of regular appointments, but they would go in when I was going through something, and I would just whatever the message is,
The
um,
affirmation, like an affirmation page,
affirmation, and I
stronger
would
than
put
you
it
think.
in an
We're
alarm.
meant to do
Yep.
hard
And
things, not the first mountain I've climbed. Like, 'cause we catastrophize the
circling
situation.
back to the movie Michael, which is the biopic that was just done on Michael Jackson, and his nephew it plays him, Jermaine's son, which was incredible. He
Can't
did
wait
an
to see it.
amazing job, and I loved Michael Jackson, and I still do. So I really wasn't gonna appreciate whoever tried to be him, and he convinced me, um, which was amazing. But he did a lot of self-regulating and a lot of self-positive talk and a lot of affirmations, and he wrote them on the wall and he put them on the wall. And if you watch the movie, you will see him in the sound booth going, I'm okay. I'm incredible. I'm the biggest performer on planet Earth. Everybody loves me. Like he's doing the affirmations to
Mhm,
himself in the sound booth. And
mhm.
Lisa, it was so amazing because out of all the knowledge I know about him, I'd never knew that he was really
Yeah.
into like affirming himself.
Well, think about his childhood. I
Yeah.
mean, right? When you haven't been taught how to regulate yourself through co-regulation as a baby, as a toddler, this journey of learning how to regulate yourself, it's uncomfortable.
But
I don't
that's the thing
recommend
that I
it.
have. That's the problem I have with attachment theory is that for somebody like me who had a very specific upbringing, um, it feels like the way the theory is taught that like if you didn't get this when you were a kid, you missed the boat and you're
I don't think
screwed up.
that's true. I
Let me
think because
but
people
wait a
come
second.
in our life, you know?
What I'm saying is true though. But you're saying I don't think that's true, but I'm saying that it makes me feel that way. When
Oh,
I
okay.
read it, I remember thinking,
Mhm,
"Well, crap, I missed the boat. Like I screwed up. My
mm,
parents, there's no coming back. I'm always going to have this problem. I'm always going to be anxious." I'm saying for me, right?
mhm.
So the problem with the way that I feel like it presents is that we have to go back and we're trying to like make up for lost time and it's always going to be an issue. And I believe I like the theories and I like the different labels that they put on the styles of attachment. But oh, I lost my train of thought. but I don't think that everything goes back to attachment. I think that you can overcome it and you can train yourself to be different and you can attach. I think attachments can heal. I don't think that it's just one way and that's the way you when you were a kid. And I think am I wrong that it's not presented that way? Is it presented that attachment styles can change over time?
I mean, I guess I don't interpret it that way. I guess I interpret it as like I have the cards I'm dealt and I have to learn how to play those cards. So if I'm understanding that like I have an anxious attachment, then I'm working with that and I'm building relationship and I'm trying to work with my my automatic responses to things. And so I have relationship with people that that when I have that connection, like it reinforces different things in me, right? Like it shows me things like, oh, this is this way, right? And I don't have to feel this way. I can feel like this, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and I know friends have said that to me, that 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 part of my upbringing, right, brought security to me and that they feel regulated with me and that there's a rewrite for them because of that regulation. So I think our relationships can help us to shift and change and improve. I do think there's natural tendencies in us and we just learn to work with those, you know. So I don't think I think it's an and.
Yeah. I don't know because I also think that when I don't know what the twin studies are, but like I think that you could have two parents that parent their children similarly because they're and I haven't looked at twin studies in attachment. I don't know what it says. I have to look at that. But because I know that I was in the NICU with my children, right? And I raised them. I mean, I don't know if you can raise your kids the same way because you're just gonna be biased and different with each child. But um from the get-go, I could see the different ways they attached. I could see that one of them was like anxious and didn't want to be
Yeah,
near you, and the other one was secure. And so,
different
but it
different
wasn't the
needs.
parenting and it wasn't like, you know what I mean? So I feel like,
Well,
I
the
don't know.
parenting's reinforcing. We're mirroring, we're co-regulating, you know, we're there's no perfect, right? So, yeah, I think there's biologically there's some leaning towards certain things and either those things are there's help in that and there's regulation and there's learned
I'll say it
or
this
there's
way.
not, you know?
I'll say it this way. I have clients that come in and they're like, "Oh, I'm anxious avoidant, and that's just how I am." And I'm like, "Okay, let's just live in that lane where we just reinforce what you
Right,
think."
right.
It's like I'm a Virgo, and so I'm organized. It feels that way to me
Yeah,
sometimes,
yeah.
and so
Instead of
that's
like
why
yeah.
instead of as a wearing it loosely and going, "Okay," um, I don't know. I think I just have to look at it more and just yeah, just look at it more because I
Yeah.
I I feel like
It's like a
um
structure. I feel like it's kind of like when you read your horoscope, you're like, wow, there's some parts that feel really accurate and others that don't. You know, I think that there's a structure that gives me an understanding of attachment and where I lean. And then I'm always working on myself. But that's also my mentality, right? Is like
right.
continue to do the work. And some people just like a label and that's who I am. And that's easy. And that, now it makes sense. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
but you don't have to you can work towards having healthy attachment. You can work towards, like, working on those
Yeah.
protecting behaviors, you know, that kinda thing, so
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So much.
alrighty. Well, it's
So much, guys.
so much. We're all learning to
Anyway,
regulate ourselves
I
and
love I love the interventions and I love what you said about the somatic. I'm definitely gonna like look at that and do more of that because I and recommend that. I think there's so much to the somatic.
I do too, and I think having an athletic background, I'm used to pain calming me down, and I never looked at it until like that until the last couple years,
Yeah.
where I'm like, "Wow, I use that as a thing and didn't realize I use it and still use it." And so
Yeah.
therefore, in my anxiety, I probably need to bump up my somatic to help me regulate because I'm used to that. I've built a tolerance, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.